Jimmy Fallon was talking about the power of music to create memories, when a voice from the audience stopped him mid-sentence. "I have 6 months to live," said the woman in the 7th row, her voice clear and steady despite the devastating words. "And I want to sing one last lullaby to my daughter." The studio fell into the kind of silence that feels like a held breath. Jimmy's smile disappeared instantly as he searched the audience for the source of those heartbreaking words. In seat 7F sat Lisa Chen, 34 years old, wearing a colorful headscarf that couldn't hide the effects of chemotherapy, but somehow made her look more beautiful, not less. It was Thursday night, and The Tonight Show was celebrating their music week, with performances and musical guests. The atmosphere had been joyful, energetic, filled with the kind of infectious music that makes people want to dance. But Lisa had come with a different kind of music in mind. She sat with perfect posture, despite her illness, her hands folded calmly in her lap. The headscarf was bright yellow with small sunflowers, chosen deliberately to project warmth and hope. Her eyes, though tired from treatment, held a fierce determination that spoke of a mother's love transcending everything else. Jimmy had noticed Lisa during the show's opening because while everyone else was clapping and moving to the music, she sat perfectly still. Not the stillness of disinterest, but the stillness of someone conserving every ounce of energy for something important. There was something about her presence that commanded attention without demanding it. "Ma'am," Jimmy said, setting down his note cards and stepping toward the audience, his voice gentle and concerned. "What did you say?" He needed to hear it again. Needed to be sure he'd understood correctly. Lisa rose slowly to her feet, her movements careful but graceful. When she spoke again, her voice carried the strength of someone who had made peace with an impossible situation. "I said I have 6 months to live, and I want to sing a lullaby to my daughter." The cameras automatically found her, but this wasn't entertainment anymore. Jimmy's face went through a series of emotions as the full weight of her words settled over him. Here was a dying mother, asking for one final gift to her child. "What's your name?" Jimmy asked, his television persona completely abandoned. Lisa straightened her shoulders with quiet dignity. "Lisa Chen. I'm 34 years old, and I have a 12-year-old daughter named Emma." The age hit everyone like a physical blow. At 34, Lisa should have decades ahead of her, years of lullabies and bedtime stories and mother-daughter moments. Instead, she was counting her remaining time in months, maybe weeks. "Lisa," Jimmy said, stepping down from the stage and walking directly toward her. "Tell me about Emma." Lisa's face transformed immediately, lighting up with the radiance that only comes when a parent talks about their child. "Emma is the most beautiful, intelligent, funny little girl in the world," Lisa said, her voice growing stronger with each word. "She wants to be a veterinarian because she loves animals more than people sometimes." The audience smiled through their tears at the glimpse of normalcy in this devastating story.
"And she doesn't know?"
Jimmy asked gently as he reached Lisa's row. Lisa shook her head, tears finally beginning to form in her eyes. "She knows I'm sick, but she doesn't know how sick. She thinks Mommy is going to get better." The studio audience was completely silent now, understanding they were witnessing something sacred. Lisa continued, "I can't bear to tell her the truth. Not yet. But I want to give her something she can keep forever." "A lullaby," Jimmy said, beginning to understand. Lisa nodded, her composure starting to crack slightly. "Every night since she was a baby, I've sung her Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Even now, even though she's 12 and thinks she's too old for lullabies, she still asks for it." Jimmy's voice was thick with emotion. Lisa smiled through her tears. "Every single night. She says it's not bedtime without Mommy's song." Behind the scenes, the control room had gone completely quiet. Producers who usually managed every second of airtime stood transfixed by the raw honesty unfolding before them. This wasn't television anymore. This was life and death, and love distilled to its purest form. Jimmy made a decision that would define this moment forever. "Lisa," he said, his voice carrying across the silent studio, "would you sing it for her now?" Lisa looked confused. "Here, in front of everyone?" "Not for everyone," Jimmy corrected gently. For Emma, and for every mother who's ever sung that song, and for everyone who needs to remember what love sounds like when time is running out. Lisa's tears came freely now, but she nodded. Could we call her? She's at home with my mom. Maybe she could hear it. Jimmy immediately pulled out his phone. What's the number? The call connected on the second ring. Mom, came a young voice through the speaker, curious and slightly worried. Is everything okay? Lisa's face broke into a radiant smile at the sound of her daughter's voice. Hi, sweetheart, Lisa said, her voice steady despite her tears. I'm fine. I'm on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Emma's gasp was audible through the phone. Really? Mom, are you famous now? Jimmy stepped closer to the phone. Emma, this is Jimmy. Your mom wanted to sing you something special tonight, okay? Emma's voice was filled with excitement. Okay. Hi, Mr. Fallon. Mom, you're on TV. I am baby, Lisa said, looking directly into the camera. And I want to sing our song. The one I sing every night. Emma's voice grew softer, more tender. Our lullaby? But Mom, everyone will hear it. That's okay, sweetheart, Lisa replied. Sometimes the most beautiful things should be shared. She looked at Jimmy, who nodded encouragingly. The Roots had quietly gathered their instruments, understanding what was about to happen. Questlove, Jimmy called softly. Could you give us something gentle? The drummer nodded, beginning a soft, simple rhythm that felt like a heartbeat. The other musicians joined in with barely audible accompaniment, creating a musical cocoon around Lisa's voice. Lisa closed her eyes for a moment, gathering strength, then opened them and looked directly into the camera. This is for my Emma, she said, and for every child who needs to know they're loved beyond measure. When Lisa began to sing, her voice was clear and pure despite her illness. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. The familiar words filled the studio, but they carried a weight and beauty that no one had ever heard before. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Lisa's voice grew stronger with each line, the love in it so powerful it seemed to transform the very air around her. The studio audience was mesmerized, many openly weeping. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. As Lisa finished the first verse, Emma's voice came through the phone, soft and sweet, joining her mother in harmony. When the blazing sun is gone, when he nothing shines upon, mother and daughter sang together across the distance, their voices blending perfectly through the phone connection. The studio became a sacred space where love transcended technology, illness, and time itself. Then you show your little light, twinkle, twinkle, all the night. The Roots continued their gentle accompaniment as Lisa and Emma finished together. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. The final note hung in the air like a prayer, beautiful and heartbreaking, and perfect. The silence that followed was profound. 300 people sat in absolute stillness, many with tears streaming down their faces. Jimmy wiped his eyes openly, no longer caring about his television image. Emma, Jimmy said into the phone, his voice rough with emotion. That was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard on this stage. Emma's voice came back, innocent and pure. Mr. Fallon, why is everyone crying? Did we do something wrong? Lisa laughed through her tears. No, baby. We did something right. We shared our love with the world. Emma's voice grew thoughtful. Mom, will you always sing to me? Even when I'm old? The question hit Lisa like a physical blow, but she answered without hesitation. Always, sweetheart. Even when you can't hear me anymore, I'll still be singing to you. The promise carried a weight that everyone in the studio understood. Jimmy made another unprecedented decision. Lisa, he said, would you come up on stage? I think you have something more to say. Lisa looked uncertain. I don't know what to say. Say whatever's in your heart, Jimmy replied. Say what you want, Emma to remember. Lisa nodded and began walking toward the stage, Jimmy supporting her every step of the way. Once on stage, Lisa looked directly into the camera, knowing her daughter was watching. "Emma, my beautiful girl," she said, her voice steady and strong, "I want you to know something important. When you're older, when you have your own children, you'll sing this same lullaby to them," Lisa continued. "And when you do, I'll be there. In the words, in the melody, in the love that passes from mother to child." Emma's voice came through the phone, smaller now, as if she was beginning to understand something she couldn't quite name. "Mommy, are you going to be okay?" The innocent question broke everyone's heart. Lisa closed her eyes briefly, gathering courage for the most important words she would ever speak. "I'm going to be different, sweetheart, but my love for you will never change. It will never get sick, never get tired, never go away. Promise?" Emma whispered. Lisa looked directly into the camera, speaking to her daughter, but also to every parent facing the unthinkable. "I promise. Love like ours doesn't end, baby. It just finds new ways to sing." The applause that followed was unlike anything ever heard in that studio. It wasn't entertainment applause, it was recognition of something sacred, something that transcended television and touched the deepest part of human experience. But Lisa wasn't finished. She asked Jimmy if she could sing one more song, something she'd written for Emma. "I've been working on it during my treatments," she explained. "It's not very good, but it's from my heart." The song Lisa sang was simple, imperfect, and absolutely beautiful. It was about stars watching over little girls, about love that lasts forever, about mothers who never really leave their children. Her voice cracked on some notes, but the love in every word made it perfect. When she finished, Emma's voice came through the phone one more time. "Mommy, I love you more than all the stars." Lisa's response was immediate and fierce. "And I love you more than all the space between them." The show ended with Lisa still on stage, Jimmy's phone still connected to Emma. The image became iconic, a dying mother using her last months to create memories that would last her daughter's lifetime. After the cameras stopped rolling, something extraordinary happened. Instead of the typical rush to leave, the entire audience remained seated. One by one, they began sharing their own stories of loss, of love, of the lullabies that had shaped their lives. Jimmy arranged for Lisa to stay in New York for the weekend, bringing Emma up to see her mother on the actual Tonight Show set. The reunion was private, sacred, away from cameras and audiences. Just a mother and daughter, and the lullabies that connected them. The episode aired exactly as it happened, with no editing to diminish the emotional impact. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Mothers across the country began recording lullabies for their children. Hospitals reported an increase in family visits. Lisa's story sparked a movement called Lullaby Legacy, encouraging parents to record themselves singing to their children. The organization, started by Jimmy's foundation, helps families create lasting memories when time is short. 6 months later, Lisa passed away peacefully at home, with Emma beside her. Her final words were the opening lines of "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." Emma sang along, their voices blending one last time in perfect harmony. At Lisa's funeral, hundreds of people who had never met her gathered to honor a mother's love. Children sang lullabies. Parents shared recordings of their own bedtime songs. The service became a celebration of the love that continues even when the singer is gone. Emma, now 13, still listens to the recording of that night every evening before bed. She started writing her own songs, melodies that feel like conversations with her mother. The veterinary dream continues, inspired by Lisa's belief that love can heal anything. Jimmy Fallon learned something profound that Thursday night that changed how he approaches his show and his life. "I always thought entertainment was about distraction," he said later. "Lisa taught me it can be about connection, about creating moments that matter more than anything else." The Tonight Show established the Lullaby Project in Lisa's honor, recording parents singing to children in hospitals across the country. These recordings become treasures for families facing impossible situations, proof that love finds a way to last forever. And somewhere in a bedroom in California, a 13-year-old girl falls asleep each night to the sound of her mother's voice, still singing about stars and diamonds and love that shines forever in the darkness. The lullaby continues, just as Lisa promised it would, carried forward by love that refuses to end even when the singer must go. The song that began as a simple bedtime routine became a testament to the power of a mother's love to transcend time, illness, and death itself. It reminded everyone who heard it that the most important performances aren't on stages or screens, but in quiet bedrooms where love is passed from one generation to the next, one note at a time.